Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and welcome back everybody to a brand new video on the channel. Today, what we're going to be going over is the top 5 best weapon combos to run in PUBG. Now, the combinations of any weapon you want to run, you want to have a good synergy that complement each other well, and that you cover your bases on all ranges as much as possible. So, in today's video, I think I found the 5 best setups to cover all those bases and have those really strong. Now, this will apply to all platforms, whether you play on PC, Xbox, or even mobile. Whatever you play on, these compositions will help you in your game, and I promise that you guys will learn something useful. But if you guys end up enjoying the video, that being said, if you could do me a really big favor and drop a like on it, that would be absolutely awesome. We're going to aim for 4,000 likes on this video. You've been crushing the like goal on every single video recently, and we'll try to keep that up. And also, make sure that you are subscribed if you are brand new to the channel. If you have not done already, we are only 20,000 away from our subscriber goal of 150K, so... And make sure you let me know inside the comment section right now, what is your #1 go-to combo to run in PUBG? Your favorite setup of weapons, what do you think runs best? And let me know about that in the comment section. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. And ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's go and get into the top 5 best weapon combos to run in PUBG. Now, the way that we're going to end up ranking these weapon combinations is we're going to make bases, okay? So, base A is going to be very close range. Base B is going to be medium range, like where assault rifles really shine at. Base C is going to be the DMR sort of range, where it's like a little bit longer, but not super long. And then we have base D, which is going to be like the sniper rifles, the M24s, Kar 98s, AWMs. You get the picture. So with that being said, our first combination to talk about today is going to be the Mini 14 and the AKM. Now, this is a solid duo to run. The great thing about these weapons is that they're both fairly easy to find, and they're versatile so that you can run them however you like to, right? The AKM is an absolute cannon at close range. Like, you really can't beat it. Even some of the submachine guns like the Vector, which are clearly made for the more close range engagements, still sometimes cannot outperform the AKM, and I always recommend that you run this weapon if you've got it. But a really nice thing about these weapons is the fact that when you run this with a Mini 14, you have almost all of your bases covered, and you have strength in all of them, for the most part anyways. The only reason you're going to suffer is the extremely long ranges, because unfortunately, the Mini just really isn't built for that, right? Even if you have an 8x on it, the problem is that the Mini still does really low damage, and you have to land a lot of shots if you want to take somebody down at long range. So that kind of sucks, but everything else is pretty solid. So as an overall base rating, this is what I'm going to go ahead and give it. On a 1 to 10 scale, this is how I would rate this combination, and I would say that it's very solid, right? The only thing that you don't have an advantage of is very long range, but you know, sometimes you can force engagements closer to you, which you'll be good at. And I highly recommend this setup because it's easy to get used to, it's easy to find, and I recommend this for people who are starting the game as well. Now, coming in at the #4 spot is a weapon composition that actually surprised me when I started to get used to it. Now, I don't think that these two weapons on their own are very good, right? But this is going to be the combination of the UMP and the SKS. And like I said, each gun standing alone isn't anything special, but when you put them together, you have a really unique formula when it comes to this. Medium range is going to be your strong suit with this thing, right? Your close range cannon, the UMP is like, it's good up close, but it's not like the Vector where you can delete people with it. It's not like a shotgun where, you know, it just has an insane time to kill. The UMP, you still have to land quite a few shots, and even though the recoil is almost next to nothing and it's like manageable, the problem is that you still, you know, have a lower time to kill than most of the weapons. But when you combine this with the power and the long range of the SKS, you have a pretty devastating duo. When it comes to the base rating, as far as that goes, I would give it something like this. Your close range is going to be weak. I wouldn't recommend that you use this kind of setup for close quarters combat. Yes, it's possible, but it's not ideal. So when it comes to medium range, you can actually end up using both weapons depending on, you know, the actual situation that's given to you. The UMP and the SK can both handle themselves at anything like inside of 100, 150 meters-ish, depending on how you use it. So both those weapons are going to be super strong together, and long range is surprisingly good with the SK. Right? It's better than Mini 14 because you don't have to land as many shots. I think it's easier to control in my opinion. Some people may disagree. I might just be more used to it, but I think the SK and the UMP together are actually incredible. The way that I recommend you run both of these weapons is the UMP with a compensator and probably a vertical grip, and then the SKS with a compensator or a suppressor and also a vertical grip. I think those two treat the weapon the best and will give you the best feels in my opinion, but I always encourage you guys to experiment with what attachments you personally feel like fits best with you as well. Now, coming in at our number 3 spot is an interesting one for me because it's not a setup that I run very often at all, but I do see a lot of other players using this and it's recommended to me quite a bit. This is going to be the combination of the M16 and the Vector. Now, the reason why I'm not really a big fan of running this particular setup is, number one, I'm just not a big fan of the Vector, never have been, to be honest, so I just tend to stay away from that weapon, and I also don't really like the M16 too much either. I still believe, as of right now, the M16 is the worst assault rifle in PUBG. It didn't used to be that way, but as of the current patches, it's just outplayed by all the other ARs, and it just doesn't compete, so unfortunately that seems to be the case right now. But honestly, I see the appeal behind running this setup. It doesn't have a weakness at all, besides maybe really long ranges, and even then, surprisingly, the M16 can be okay at, and I guess that's your only weak spot. And as far as the base rating would go in here, I would probably give it something like this. Absolutely insane up close, right? You can't beat the Vector if it's like fully attached out. At medium range, instead of having a DMR, when you put the assault rifle, you have the M16 for this spot, you can handle both, you know, your B and C bases pretty solid. And then as far as long range goes, obviously you don't have a DMR for this, and you don't have a sniper, so it's going to suffer a little bit there. But if you like to play up close and medium range and you stay away from more of those like far out engagements, that's not really your thing, then you might actually really end up liking this setup. But now, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at our number 2 spot is a setup that is one of my personal favorite, and if you watch my live streams and if you watch a lot of my gameplay, you'll see me running this or a variant of this all the time. This is going to be the combination of the SCAR-L and the SKS / the SLR. Now, I'm kind of putting these two weapons in there because in this scenario, I think that these two DMRs are interchangeable and it doesn't affect the composition of the combination at all. But when you run these two together, it has an incredible amount of potential, but I'm not gonna lie, I think that this is one of the higher skill compositions to use. So if you're just getting used to PUBG and you don't know all of the weapons just yet, especially as far as the SLR, I wouldn't recommend running on this because it takes a little while to learn. It's so different of a weapon, and even the SKS can take a little while to fully master. But when you feel like you're comfortable with these two weapons, if you put them together, you're gonna be a monster. Now, the base rating that I would give this setup would look like this. There's strength in everything, and I'd say average numbers is higher than most of the combination that you could even think of putting together in this game. You cannot go wrong with an SKS and a SCAR-L as long as you feel like you know these weapons decently enough. You don't have to be a pro with them. You don't even have to master these weapons. You just got to have a basic understanding of how they run, and you will not be disappointed at all. I can guarantee you that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we unveil our number 1 spot for this video, I wanted to give one honorable mention to 2 airdrop weapons in a composition because I didn't want to exclude them completely, but I wanted to more stay away from those as, you know, they're not as common weapons and it wouldn't make much sense for me to focus on those. But giving a special shout out to 2 particular airdrop weapons, if you can be so lucky to get both of them in one game, is going to be the MK14 and the AWM. And that might sound a little bit weird, but this has such like a niche value to it. But the tricky part would be finding both of these weapons in a single match, which your chances of that are pretty much 0. If you've ever done that, let me know in the comment section if you found that. But I don't think that is very practical. But let's just say that in some world you find these two, right? I think the MK14 is almost the perfect cross between an assault rifle and a DMR, because unlike the other ones, this has the ability to be put in full auto, and you can put a red dot on it, so it can be really nice at close and medium range. And of course, the AWM is the king of long range. So I would say the base ratings would look something like this for these two weapons. You have a very specialty for these like particular ranges here, a little bit in the middle, but I don't think I would ever be that lucky to find 2 of those weapons in a single match. Just let me know in the comment section by putting yes or no if you've ever ran these 2 weapons in the same game. And ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's unveil our number 1 spot, which is, I think, to be the best weapon combo in PUBG at all right now, period. So coming in at number 1 are my favorite weapons, the M416 and the M24. Now, very recently, as you guys know, the M24 was taken out of drops to be put into the world, and this was instantly a good idea and music to my ears, because my favorite combo before this was the M4 plus the Kar98, but now the Kar98 is just sort of inferior to this weapon. The only downside about this combo is that the M24 is a really rare spawn, even though it is not in drops. But that being said, if you can get both of these guns in the same game, you're almost unstoppable, and you might as well win the game from there. I'd have to say the base rating on this combination is incredible. And if you look at the numbers here, obviously these are sort of subjective and you might have a little bit of different values, but this is what I would rate that. And I would say most people, if not all, would somewhat agree with this. It's certainly not a bad combination, no matter the way you want to look at it. They're both very objectively solid weapons, and I don't think that there's really anything as far as common spawns go that are better than running these two. I think they're great together, and I highly recommend that if you can find both these weapons, this is like the god tier setup in my opinion. But anyways, guys, I think that is going to be the video for today. Let me know in the comment section what your preferred combination of weapons is to run in PUBG, and maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll try it out, and I'll let you know how I feel about your setup. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to drop a like on it. That'd be awesome. Subscribe if you are brand new to this channel as well. Go and join my Discord server. The link will be down below in the description. And without further ado, I will see you all on the next live stream or the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.